Hey, welcome back. Hey, I want to give a shout out to you and an appreciation for all the input that you provide on my videos, when in the comment section and so forth, because as I've said before, excuse me, your input helps the rest of the community. I learn from your input, I gain from your input. You give me ideas about the pen world that I hadn't thought of sometimes. And so anyway, this video is a follow-up to the video I did recently about some different fountain pen must-have tools, and that as you get into this deep rabbit hole of fountain pen enjoyment, the hobby and so forth, the tools that you're going to find that you're going to need more and more as you get deeper and deeper into that hole, as you get braver in working with your pens and fiddling with your pens, cleaning your pens. That seems to be the biggest issue with pen tools, is cleaning, filling, and all that. Okay, so what I want to do today is talk about some of the input that you gave, some additional types of tools that you suggested. For instance, I have a list here. Kindle D suggested a desoldering bulb, and to fit over the end of the section rather than the interior of the section. Typically, we would take, I have a grip section here, and we would take this bulb syringe and we would fit it right inside. Now I've cut mine off a little bit because I had some bigger sections that I needed this to fit in. So we'd put it in like this to clean it out. But as the picture that I'm showing you now, I'm getting ready to show you. Anyway, it's a lot wider. So it'd be like if you cut it off right about here. And what that would do would be to fit over this section. That would have its advantages, probably. It could have its advantages and so forth. And the bulb syringe, I don't know that I can't remember if I mentioned that in the video. If I didn't, shame on me. But yeah, bulb syringe is very important. Now what I would suggest is, because these desoldering bulbs, syringes, they're gonna run you around $9, at least what I found, I think on Amazon. For one, it's $9. I think for four, it's $19, but probably not gonna need four. What you can do instead is buy about 3 of these. You can get this same thing on say from Goulet pens, but it's going to run you $4.25. What I would suggest, because I've also been thinking about getting me a couple of more of these, is that you get some, say a 3-pack on Amazon. You can get I think it was on Amazon, you can get a 3-pack for $6.50, which brings the price down to $2.16 each. And then you could have one that's cut off just a little bit, one a little bit further up, and then for like the desoldering bulb, you can cut this thing open way down here, and just to get it wider if you want. I think that you could get it wide enough, oh yeah, to go over the grip, the threaded section there. So anyway, I appreciate that, Kindle, John, for that suggestion. John P suggested getting some rubber tubes or sheets, which I actually did have a rubber sheet laying on my desk when I did that video. Sometimes, I don't know if you're like me, but sometimes my head gets a little scrambled depending on what's going on in my life. Anyway, but it's black, and the table that I was working on is black. So, yeah. So you can get things like this lost. A rubber grip on Goulet was like $2.25, and it may, sometimes just a convenience. Like if you're on the website and you're saying, look, I just want all this. I don't want to have to go around trying to find the lowest price on every little thing. And Goulet pens actually, I haven't checked Gold Spot and some of these other places, but Goulet actually has some sets, and they have them, kind of like a couple pieces, 2 or 3, and then to the whole set as far as your brass shims, your micro mesh pads for smoothing your nib tips. And they'll throw in some little rubber grips, but they had a little rubber grip, and it's just small. It's just like a little piece of that, but it's enough to fit over the nib and to pull it off. That's all you need. But you can pick these things up at some dollar store or whatever for pretty cheap. You can get a bunch of them on. Usually if you're buying them online, they're going to be sold in packs, which can bring the price down, because their rubber grip was $2.25. I don't know, that's a lot, and these things are handy around the house anyway, so might as well just get you a pack of them. And sometimes if you're out at like farmers markets, that kind of thing, sometimes businesses will give these things away free with their business name on them. So, that can be handy as well. So yeah, definitely you want a rubber grip, and or like I said, even rubber tubing, just something rubber to where you can grip that's going to protect the nib as well as the feed, so you're not busting the little fins on the feed. Also, John P. Suggested some little pliers that have a rubber tip on them to kind of pull that nib off, and that could come in handy as well. Kendall W. also suggested the rubber sheet, and again, I apologize, man, how did I miss something like that? Chris G. suggested toothpicks. They could be, plastic or rubber, or plastic or wood. Yeah, instead of getting it on your fingers, I guess. But they would be easy to fit. You could use a toothpick, especially in tighter places. Sometimes, if I'm depending on the grip section, if I feel like there might be some areas where there might be some leakage, if I'm gonna eyedropper the pen, I might put some on the interior of the, on the inside of the grip section, just down in there to where if there's an edge in there, like some of these sections, they don't just pull out these feeds, they don't just pull out, you actually unscrew them. So anyway, yeah, that especially in tight places, that could come in handy, I think. So that's a good suggestion. I appreciate that. Chris G also mentioned feeler gauges. Now, as I was showing you the brass shims, sometimes you can use those to twist and to get your tines separated if you need that, to help with ink flow and to clean them out. But sometimes a feeler gauge, and here's a picture of what I mean by that, can be used because they get a little thicker and they have all kinds of different gauges for thickness. So you want to be careful not to get one that's too thick, but enough to get in between the tines to where you can move them and adjust them. What's his name? Doodlebud. He has some videos on where he's used a feeler gauge to do that. He's got a video on how to do the tines, so for you that really want to get into that, tinkering with your nibs and so forth, look up Doodlebud and you'll get some helpful information there. Okay, Das Bomber, he had a suggestion of a holder. Now what he did, if I can imagine in my mind what he's talking about, he actually made this from a, what do you call that, a 3D printer, and where he had some kind of crisscross section. Anyway, somehow he made this thing to where it would hold a converter, so he could fill it without having to hold the converter and fill it at the same time. That way he's Das Bomber, I'm hoping I am expressing what you're meaning accurately. So there's something that you could just have, something that you can hold that that converter, or you can even hold empty cartridges if you're filling that, to where you can use both your hands to hold the syringe or whatever to help steady yourself. Now, you don't have a 3D printer, that's fine, but maybe you have a drill, just a basic hand drill and a block of wood. Just get a drill bit that's a tad bit bigger than a converter or a cartridge, and just drill a couple of holes. Make sure it's it's a wide enough piece that it's you're not going to tip that over too. Like just a chunk of 2x4, and just drill some holes in that, and that way you can just kind of set your converter or your cartridge in there, and then boom, 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 go down and fill those up. Okay, let's see. Barry, he talked about blotting paper. Now I got a blotter, rocker blotter, and yeah, that's a good idea too. Especially if you got some, paper where the ink dries slower on and so forth. You can just blot that up. Now, or in your journals. Now, what I do for my journal is I just keep a blank page, tear it out from the back, whatnot, and I just keep it right in there. Just slip it in after I've written, and that way I can close it up, and it's going to go on that one page. So that's my blotter for that one page. Okay, Unknown Crash 1, he suggested an Asvine wrench. All right, so let's take a look at this. Now, it has the end here, right there. See the hook in there? All right, this is like what you're going to get from Hongdian. I think they make a wrench. They'll send you a wrench sometimes that has those hooks. Well, these hooks fit the same. And then each one of these spots is a little bit different size than the other. And so that'll get into, like when your blind cap and you're wanting to remove your piston or vac mechanism to get in there to unscrew that. One of these will fit. You're likely to find one of these that are going to fit whatever pen that you're working on, especially the Chinese pens. So, of course, TWSBI gives you a wrench for the TWSBI pens, which is helpful for those. And I tried a TWSBI on one of my Chinese, and it, I think I found one that it would work on, but not all of them. And plus, the TWSBI wrench is thicker. It uses a little bit thicker plastic, and so it's a little bit harder to get into some of the mechanisms to be able to wrench those parts out. So you know, yeah, if you can, now this will come with Asvine. I don't know if it's all of my Asvine pens. I don't think it's all of them, because I only have 2 of these, and I have about maybe 3, or at least 3, maybe 4 Asvine pens. So obviously didn't get one in each one of those, but anyway, so yeah, Asvine wrench, and I think you can buy these separately too. Let's see, one more here, and this is kind of saved this one from last. Also Barry, he mentioned the blotting paper, but he also mentioned vinyl gloves. You know, they're just those, I mean, you can use dish gloves if you want, but otherwise, you know, it's just kind of mechanic vinyl type gloves, and or you can use them in the medical field, obviously. They got all those kind of plastic gloves. Great idea, because some people don't like inky fingers, and I really don't mind inky fingers, but I can definitely see the advantage of using the rubber gloves, especially the job that I have right now. I work for a company that produces peritoneal kidney dialysis kits, and so I'm working in a room there, and we're finishing up coiling these kits to put them, get them wrapped, and so forth. And you don't want blood. You know, we're wearing Band-Aids, you know, even with just a slight break in the skin and all that kind of stuff. But I always wondered, you know, I come in with this, you know, red ink, Red Devil or ox blood or whatever that's stained my fingers, you know. Don't want people to be seeing that. So that could, rubber gloves come in handy. And Barry, you gave one of the suggestions I don't think many people think too much about, but that's a bib. Yes, a bib. And here's a picture. I spill everything, I think is what that bib says. And I just think a bib would be a great idea, because especially a bib like this, you know, full body bib, because I had a shirt that had an ink spot right up here. My wife says, "How'd you get ink up there?" You know, I said, "I don't know. I think I was using one of those ink shots, and I had my pen up above it, and it slipped and it kind of spilled up." That's the only thing I could think of, but who knows? Anyway, so yeah, a bib or over bib. Well, I tell you what, I got another idea. How about this one? Yeah, that ought to protect you pretty well. Okay, keep you fully covered. You're good to go. Anyway, just thought I'd have fun with that one. But anyway, so there you go. There's I think I pretty much covered everything of your suggestions. And like I said, I appreciate that. And please comment as much as you want. And I really appreciate your suggestions. And I think other people appreciate your suggestions for our group. All right. Well, thanks for watching. And there's a... See if I'm going to point in the right direction here. Here, I'll put it over here. Anyway, there's a video. If you haven't seen the video, there's the video where that I talked about those different tools and must-haves. All right, thanks for watching. You have a great day.